Dude, okay, I know that Chris has not responded to my TP wee whatever video yet, but I need to talk about Skyward Sword now. I just saw the trailer, I just read the Zelda wiki page and looked at all the references to hear even more information, and I need to talk about this now. Okay, so basically Skyward Sword is the title for the next generation Zelda Wii game. Because we're not going to have to call it Zelda Wii anymore, we're finally going to have to call it Skyward Sword, which makes me so happy. I was tired of saying that other title. I'm never saying the ZW word ever again. I'm going to call it Skyward Sword from now on until the day I die. Okay, so from the trailer, what do we learn? We learned that this game is going to have a lot of traditional items, and I imagine it's going to have control schemes similar to Wii Sports Resort, because Miyamoto actually said that at E3, so yay! Finally, we get a confirmation about that too. Another thing that we can tell just from the trailer and some very light assistance from official quotes is that the game is cel-shaded with realistic splashes. So it's basically like Wind Waker grew up and then Twilight Princess kind of dabbled itself in there a little bit, and that's the graphical style we got. We got an older Link who's cel-shaded with a little bit more detail added. I love it. I mean, I can sort of tell some people are going to say, like, oh, it's just a compromise between the Wind Waker fanboys and the Twilight Princess fanboys, but I still think that it looks really cool despite the fact that it's a compromise. Maybe even because it's a compromise, because now, finally, we're going to have the people who love this art style, we're going to have the people who were such big fanboys of the Wind Waker style, and such big fanboys of the Twilight Princess style, and nobody's going to be too disappointed. The Wind Waker guys are going to be like, yay, cel-shaded. The Twilight Princess guys are going to be like, yay, adult Link in some detail. And the people, there's probably going to be their own little batch of fanboys for this style too, and I can't wait to see them all duke it out. Not only that, but guess what? The game takes place somewhat in the sky. And basically the point of this is that Link starts out in an island in the sky, and then he goes down to Hyrule and he finds bad stuff or something. I don't know. We have a very bare bones plot summary so far. And apparently, according to Miyamoto or Aonuma or Iota, someone, the game is going to take place sort of interacting between the regular world and the overworld being the sky. And I think this is what people were talking about when they said that Zelda Wii had flying. I don't think they meant like sailing but with air. I think they actually meant just going from the sky island to the regular world. So hopefully that alleviates some worries, and if there actually is like regular flying like the sailing in Wind Waker, all the better. I liked Wind Waker sailing. And now we're doing it in 3 dimensions with Wii Sports Resort controls. Sign me up, man. Sign me up. Another great thing about this game, apparently, is that it's going to have a sword that is not the Master Sword, but by the end of the game, it's going to become the Master Sword. This pretty much guarantees it's going to be a prequel to Ocarina of Time, which I love for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's a plot element similar to Minish Cap, and it's finally being incorporated into a larger game. I'm not saying that Minish Cap was bad, but the fact is that it was smaller. Reason number 2 why I like this so much is because the Master Sword has never really gotten an explanation. It's basically, like, the extent of its history is that ancient people made it, and now it kills evil stuff. Now we're finally going to know, like, where it came from, why does it repel evil, other stuff that I haven't thought about questions of, but now we're finally going to know it. And this is great, because I love history. The lore of the Legend of Zelda series needs to be expanded upon, because so far, according to Aonuma, the current main honcho of the Zelda series, there are really pretty much only 6 canon games, which are Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Spirit Tracks, and Phantom Hourglass, and now there's finally going to be a 7th. It's going to be very solidified before Ocarina of Time. And that leads me to reason number 3 as to why I'm so excited about this, is because it's finally going to be a prequel to Ocarina of Time. And I'm very excited about this because when I first got Wind Waker, it was one of my first Zelda games. I think I played Oracle of Seasons and A Link to the Past before it, and that was it. But when I got Wind Waker, I thought, okay, so there's like 8 or 9 or something like that games that take place in Hyrule, and now it's flooded. And so basically, like, this is the most epic thing ever. And it still is very epic, but the fact is that in the timeline grand scheme of things, there's only one game that takes place in Hyrule before Wind Waker, and then all the other Hyrules take place either long after Wind Waker or in a separate timeline. But now, we'll finally have another game where Hyrule is in the past, Ocarina of Time. We finally have 2 games. Now we have 2 games that you get to grow up and learn about Hyrule, and then it gets flooded in Wind Waker and you fucking fuck your face. So yeah, I really feel like this enriches Wind Waker's lore more so than Ocarina of Time. Just me. Maybe it's because it's cel-shaded, but really it has nothing to do with that, so no, it's not because of that. And that is all the excitement I have for Skyward Sword. I'm very much, I was psyched enough about the game that I pre-ordered it at GameStop today. But besides that, I have something to say about Ocarina of Time, oddly enough. And that is that a lot of people have said that it should have been remade onto the DS because Super Mario 64 was, and Diddy Kong Racing was, and Ocarina of Time is the greatest game of all time according to many, many sources. Myself not included, but I think it's very good. And why didn't it get ported onto the DS? Well, I don't know. But the fact is that now, apparently they're going to put it on the 3DS. I don't know what to say besides that's awesome. I love it. Gimme. So yeah, looking forward to Ocarina of Time 3DS or whatever it's going to be called, but more so looking forward to Skyward Sword. Also, I bought Minish Cap today, and I said I pre-ordered Skyward Sword at GameStop, so I guess you can infer as to where I bought this. Interestingly enough, it's used, but it actually has no tags or anything on it, which I thought was really cool. Also, I already played it, and there were no save files, so I'm thinking maybe it was actually new, but just out of the box. And if so, that's really cool, because I got a pretty good deal on this, if that's the case. So yeah, I will make a non-related Zelda video in the near future, but for now, enjoy the second Zelda-related video in a row.